Hi, everybody. Bob Huey here with Wild Rose Toastmasters and our Learn It Forward series. Want to introduce you to Diane Gunn. Diane is actually an area director for District 99, but she just decided to come and join Wild Rose. Even it's funny, she's our area director, so she's going to have to figure out when she's going to have an official visit other than her as a member. So welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Bob, for including me as a new member of Wild Rose.
Well, this is half the fun of these is like I get to know people better. People get to know our members. And part of what I'm saying is, hey, Wild Rose has some amazing members. Come and hang out with us. And maybe you'll see why we're so dynamic and maybe you should join us. So that you get to be a promotional piece for the club. How about that? You never thought that you'd be an asset and somebody could promote Wild Rose Toastmasters by saying, hey, look at Diane Gunn.
Thank you. Hopefully in a good way.
Well, I hope so too. So I'm gonna ask you the same question I ask everybody else at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your Toastmaster journey and why you joined Wild Rose.
My Toastmaster journey started when I was fully employed. I was running a small not-for-profit organization as executive director, but I felt that there was something missing in, no, do I go back to school? Do I think about the PhD? Where do I want to do a little bit of learning, extracurricular activities? And I checked out choir and I checked out Toastmasters, and I fell in love with both.
Oh, okay.
And the person sitting beside me at choir said, I found the most amazing thing that I'm doing on Tuesdays. I went, gee, I'm doing this great thing on Thursdays. It was our current district director, Rebecca Cuthbertson Holtz, myself, standing in the alto section the first year that we discovered Toastmasters, about 11 years ago.
Hmm.
And since then, we've seen Rebecca, who's also a member of Wild Rose, skyrocket, get her DTM within, I think, 2 years of joining, and work her way through the trio, the top leadership. But I've seen her grow and expand, but there's always a spawn spot for Wild Rose.
Mhm.
So our paths have been divergent. I was in Southern Lights, which I consider my home club.
Mhm.
And but then I joined Rebecca's club because it was at lunchtime and I could do it. And then a lot of things happened in that process. I missed a few years of doing much within Toastmasters. She skyrocketed. And so she was sort of my guiding light as I was walking through. And I kept hearing about Wild Rose. And then I went to a Wild Rose meeting and I heard more about them. I heard about them from people I respect, like Neil Wilkinson
Mhm.
and uh, Mr. Toast himself. And then I
Mhm.
saw people at training and others who were seeing that Wild Rose was a direction that they needed to take their Toastmaster journey towards, that one step towards excellence. So that's why I joined.
Well, thank you for that. That's exactly what we're trying to do is to be that place. It's interesting you mentioned Mr. Toast, Um, when I was interviewing him way back, he was actually my very first person to interview Peter because I figured he's 94. I want to make sure I get him while he's still really with us. And he is. And he said at 94, he's still involved because he's still learning. But I asked him, I said, why did you join? Why did you start Wild Rose? And he said, at the time, there were no advanced clubs. And we thought that perhaps there should be a club where people could come and maybe bump their skill set a little bit. And that's why they started it 40 years ago. So it was the first one in District 42 at that time. So it's interesting. One thing that you mentioned, I thought it was kind of interesting. You were looking for things to do. When I was rebuilding Telecom Toastmasters in New Westminster, we had a lady join, and she told us that she was looking for something to do, and she was checking all these things, and she came to visit us because she thought it was a sewing thing. So she came to the wrong thing. And so for a lot of times she told her little church lady group that she was joined to this sewing thing because she didn't want to tell them that she was going to Toastmasters. And later on, she was an amazing storyteller, and we loved it when she gave speeches. She was probably in her 70s when she joined, and it just, again, that's the thing. Different age groups, different focuses, different things. You come for what you want, and I think Toastmasters gives you more than you ask for. So let me ask you another question. You just came back from California.
Yes.
What did you do in California?
Do I start with the conga line or do I
Yeah,
start with
tell us the whole story. I got the
go,
pictures to prove it. No.
going to the international convention was something that Rebecca and I did in, I think, 2017. And we went to Vancouver. We said, well, okay, we're doing this new Toastmasters thing and it's close. So we went in 2017 and loved the educationals,
Hmm.
loved the vibe of all of those countries coming together with one common goal. And so I waffled about going to California. It's California, it's Disney. Do I really want to go? But then our good friend Harriet Tinka made
Hmm.
it through the regionals, and I couldn't not go. And then because I just wanted to cheer her on and
Yeah,
see
she's
her.
such an amazing lady.
She's an amazing person, beyond words, inspiration in life and on stage. But the kicker was that somebody I had met through Southern Lights when in COVID, I Hatano, said, I can get a week off work with the International Space Station in Japan. I can come join you. And so I met for the first time in person at the International Convention. And that
Isn't
has
it
to
cool?
be one of the most heartwarming things. We've known each other for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
She found Southern Lights when it was only on Zoom, stayed with us when we were in hybrid. And now we're working together to start an outreach club that is Zoom only, that's international in focus,
Yeah.
that takes the Northern Lights and Southern Lights type of meetings and
Hmm.
translates those into an international place. Northern Lights created Southern Lights.
Mm.
I and Aaron McDonald and Chitty and Feng Troy are all working together in Edmonton to create World Lights.
That's so
And
cool.
we have members now that join us from Japan, top Hokkaido to the South Island. Uh,
Hmm.
we've had people from Thailand, Korea, South Africa, Nigeria, Australia. Uh, I'm working on somebody from Ecuador. As a Canadian from Ecuador has joined us, someone from Brazil, Houston, because that's the NASA center. And
Hmm.
we sometimes get some of the space station NASA folks joining us and bringing the most amazing speeches, not only about the cultures, but the world as seen from
Hmm.
space.
Well, it's interesting you're talking about that because the presentation I'm making in October is to a Zoom-based like a worldwide club. And there's 4 or 5 of them out there, at least there's probably more, but there's 4 or 5 of them that have started. That's exactly their point. They're saying we've gone Zoom, we're going to go all over the world. And people. I mean, I've got a friend who's based in Australia, who is an area director for a district in the States. She was district director for uh, Hawaii, and she lives in. I mean, this is the nice thing about Zoom. When it first happened, it drove me crazy. It's being stuck in. I'm the guy that likes to go out and travel and do stuff, but there's some aspects of it that are amazing. Uh, I mean, I talk to people all over the world now, and
The friendships
yeah,
are
yeah,
different online in a little way from the ones that you would have in an in-person only club. That interaction is different, but it's no less valuable. It's just different.
yeah.
And
Well, and
it's a
it's fun, like when Irene and I were in, where were we? We were somewhere in Europe. I think it was when we did the Athens cruise. couple of years back. There was a lady that I know from Barcelona who was in someplace close to there for a district conference and actually took the train, came over 3 hours just to have coffee with us. So we actually met. And I've jokingly said to people, I have friends all over the world. Some of them I've even met because occasionally I get to their country, so we get to meet each other or at an international or something. And now with Zoom, we can chat and get to know each other better. Whereas in the old days before Zoom, it was like, I know you're out there because we're friends on Facebook, or someone would come up and say, "Hey, we're friends on Facebook," and I went, "Really? I don't know." But this is the nice thing about Toastmasters. I think one of them is the people you meet and the people that we spend time with, which is one of the reasons that I'm doing this Learn It Forward series, to introduce people to our members in Wild Rose, because we've got some amazing members who
Oh,
have
I,
had great lives and done amazing things, and people don't know them because they've never heard about them. So part of my job as president this year is to say, hey, look at what these people are doing. And if you think you want to do something special, come and hang out with us. We'll help you do it.
and it's not, some people have the sense that Toastmasters is for older, more established people. The
No.
most vibrant clubs are the ones that attract those who are at the beginning of their careers.
Mhm.
Some of them, English is not their first language, it might be their fifth, but
Yeah.
they work so hard for
Yeah.
success in Canada and success in their business that they're just energy that I feed off of and can't help but want to support.
Well, yeah, and that's the nice thing about it is we work with people wherever you are. You do it at your own speed, your own pace, and your own level, and you bump it up. And so, in the case of where we are as a Wild Rose and a dance club, we take people who are already members of a Toastmaster club, so they've got the basics. It's like, for example, the presentations that I'm doing in Copenhagen. They're actually advertising it as a master class in presentations and leadership. Yeah, it's literally a master class. So I'm going to have to do a little thing at the beginning, speak to lead, master class, blah blah blah. The
I saw
great,
the promo online.
yeah. No, this is going to be in person. Achieving greatness in public speaking and leadership. So I'm going to have to say to them, one of the things I've learned about being a master is the mastery of something is the superb execution of the basics. Now let me share with you some basics, because otherwise they're going to be expecting me to be brilliant and all this stuff, and I'm just going to share what I share, which is basics that I built on to allow me to have a career that's allowed me to go around the world. It'd be 80 countries by the time I get home, and anybody can do that. That's the nice thing about when I tell people, if I've done it, you can do it. Because I didn't come with any special skill set. I came with a desire and a dream to be able to speak my way around the world. Toastmasters help me. So what is it you want? Where do you want to go? We can help you get there.
And it's self-directed learning for all of us. So each of us should be sitting down at the beginning of each year and saying, why am I doing this? Where
Yep.
do I want it to take me? Where would I like my direction to go? My immediate direction for the year after I'm finished area director is, I've told Harriet I'm competing against her. I might not get past the club level, but I'm going to compete against Harriet.
Well, that'll be good because we do have competitions in Wild Rose, and it'd be nice to have more than one or two people compete. I mean, I remember one year I ended up third in the district in the humorous speech contest because I showed up for a Wild Rose meeting and they said, "We've only got one person competing. That's not a competition. We need somebody else." And well, I'm not funny, but so I quickly went through my speeches and grabbed 3 stories, put together a speech, and then I kept winning, which blew my mind. Thank God I didn't win the top one, because it really wasn't a speech. It was 3 stories strung together. And the only thing I changed between the club and the district is I changed the title. The title was "I'm Not Funny" originally, and then I changed it to "You're Not Funny." So when the lady introduced me, she said, "Bob Huey, you're not funny, Bob Huey." And I walked on and I went, "I've been trying to tell you that for like 2 months." And I got a laugh, and then I relaxed and had fun. And I told some stories. But
That
it,
storytelling part is the thing that I found has enriched my understanding of communication and relationships.
yeah,
More, it's richer now that I know how to construct the story
yeah,
and pay attention to the organization.
yeah,
The thing Toastmasters helped me best with was editing.
yeah.
You know, take a look at it and then cut it down and then
Well,
make it
yeah,
more.
and there's some truth to that. I know I have quite a few friends that are comedians. I'm not, because I'm not funny, but although I love it when people laugh. I'm humorous but not funny, and there's a difference to me. I tell stories that have a humor twist, and people laugh, and that to me is like when they laugh, it's like we're connecting. But I'm not deliberately trying to be funny, and when I first started, it used to perturb me to no end because I'd be speaking and people would laugh, and I go, "What's your problem? I'm trying to be serious here. I'm trying to be a motivational speaker, and you're laughing." And after a while, I went, "Okay, that must be humor." But we
It's
we
also
provide
neural.
a chance for people to experiment. You can find your own style. You can find what works for you. I mean, I found what works for me. I have a very relaxed conversation, as you've seen. I just get up and talk. I just do what I do. And when I'm doing it for big bucks isn't any different than what you see at Toastmasters. It's just I get paid big bucks for it. That's all. And that's the difference. It's just I found something that works for me. And that's part of what I expect for people is come to Toastmasters, find your style, find what you want to do, and we'll help you get better at it.
Well, that thing about humor
Yeah.
and reaction of the audience, that's something I talk about in terms of how your brain works and neural coupling and mirroring from your audience so that your emotions and your ability to tell that story and reach their emotions, be it humor, sadness, a memory, that's that connection that makes your message memorable.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's the point. And that's the advantage of having a live group, or if you're having a hybrid where people actually have their screens on. That was the initial part for hybrid or during Zoom that drove me crazy. I'm doing speeches and all I'm seeing is black screens. There's no reaction, nothing. I can't see people's faces. So it's like I'm giving a lecture. And that's fine. I've done that because I taught at college, but I deliberately tried to make my lectures interesting by interacting and playing with people. And it's tough to do if there's nobody there. So that's why when I'm speaking internationally on Zoom, I say, please leave your screens on so I can see you.
Yep.
Don't
I
you can't see
definitely
him, but that's my cat here.
well, I was wondering about the purposeful gestures that were being part of your
Yeah,
speech.
well, I forgot to shut the door. I forgot to shut the door because he likes to come in and be part of my Zoom calls.
Uh,
It's, you know, you
Lovely.
can't see him with the background.
Well, I did see him for a little bit, so I didn't
Yeah.
know that what you were doing was very weird.
Yeah.
This
Well, he
looks so
just
strange.
likes to be here and crawl over everything. It's just who he is. Go away, Mr. Dusty. I love you, but you know, I'm
Mr.
talking
Dusty.
to my friend Diane. Anyway, I should probably finish this since we're getting close to 20 minutes already. See, and you said you had nothing to talk about. It's just a conversation. That's what I like about this. It's just two Toastmasters talking about stuff that's of interest. And that
Coffee.
and coffee. And that's the best part of this whole thing is the people we hang out with and the people we meet and the stories we share. So
Yes.
I want to remind people that with the exception of a couple of months, we meet the last Thursday of the month, and we'd love to see you. And better yet, if you're qualified, we'd love to have you consider joining us. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you very much, Bob, for this opportunity.